Barcelona wrapped their first European night, and we need to talk about it. This game starts off and it's not looking great for Barcelona as Newcastle has shot after shot to start out the game. Thankfully, however, Barcelona were able to handle this kind of like barrage of shots coming at us. Newcastle doesn't score, and so Barcelona is able to come back on the attack. And I honestly think this is something that Hansi Flick planned for. He knew Newcastle were going to come out hot. He knew that they were going to press. And if Barcelona could just live past those first 10, 15 minutes without conceding, it was going to be really good for us. Because after those first 15 minutes, Newcastle drop out of their press, and that's when Barcelona is able to turn the tides. You see, as soon as the press dropped off, Frenkie de Jong was able to drop further back in the pitch, more towards our defense, and therefore have control of the ball from our defensive line until he could get to the middle third and start working with Pedri. Once he was doing that, it was game over for Newcastle as Barcelona now had control of the ball, which meant control of possession and tempo, and therefore the game was ours. Frenkie and Pedri just stay the best midfield duo in the world. There's literally no one better than them out there right now, and Frenkie, I honestly think, is going to be underrated this year. Pedri is getting the flowers that he so very much deserves. I have been calling for him to get his flowers for so much longer than people have been saying he's the best midfielder in the world, but I think that means that this year Frenkie is going to be a little bit underrated because people are so focused on Pedri, they don't realize that Pedri and Frenkie are a midfield duo that honestly work impeccably together. Once we were able to get the ball into Newcastle's half of the pitch and hold it there, that was where Barcelona wanted to be. That is exactly how we want to set up our offense. We can obviously strike on the counter and we're good at it, but if Barcelona's preferred way of setting up an offense is going to be a slow build-up. It was Pedri and Frenkie who were controlling the pace, but once they got it to Marcus Rashford, he was able to put the ball away. Honestly, before he even scored his goals, I was saying that Marcus Rashford is man of the match because he was doing everything for us. He was running back and playing defense. He was the person dribbling the ball into the box to try and make chances happen. Now, this is so important because Barcelona the last couple of years before Hansi Flick were known for being a little bit stagnant. We would bring the ball up the pitch and we would bring it wide down the wing, try and cross it inside, hope that someone was running into the box, and see what would happen. It was a predictable offense. By having players like Marcus Rashford, like Lamine Yamal when he comes back, being able to dribble the ball into the box and draw defenders to them, it's going to open up everyone else. And while it wasn't super prominent within this game, I think as Rashford continues to do this, he's not only going to make himself more of a threat offensively, but he's going to open the pitch for everyone else. Rashford, of course, had those two incredible goals. The header was beautiful. He honestly looked like casual doing that. Like, he looked like it was just his everyday thing that he was going to go put away this amazing header and put Barcelona up 1-0. Then, after he did, he has his second goal. This is a golazo. This is a goal of his career. Like, not only was it his second goal ever for Barcelona and he was able to put us up 2-0 against Newcastle, it was just one of the most beautiful goals we've seen in a while. Even though Rashford played so well, it was definitely obvious that we were missing Lamine Yamal. There was just a little bit of magic and spark that was not on the pitch tonight that we normally get when Yamal is playing, and also a level of relief on the rest of our offense. When Yamal is in, he's probably going to draw two defenders, at least. And if he doesn't have just those two defenders, he's got the attention of everyone on the pitch. When he's not there, that attention doesn't have to be as heavy, and so people can focus more on their own players that they're defending, which makes us scoring goals a little bit more difficult. We obviously looked really good against Valencia on the weekend without him, but when we play these really elite teams or we're going into European games like against Newcastle, it shows that we're missing him. However, the fact that we were able to persevere and push through is a really good sign, showing that we're not completely reliant on him like we were last year. When he went out for like 6 weeks or something like that with his ankle issues, Barcelona lost or tied almost every single game because it was difficult for us to play without Yamal. We're showing that we are better than that this year, which is a great sign. Now, we got to talk individual performances. We've covered Joan Garcia. He's absolutely incredible. I mean, come on. What was he not doing tonight? So many times, a Newcastle goal, I thought it was for sure, basically signed, sealed, delivered, but the ball ends up in Garcia's hands. Just impeccable from him. Frankie being probably one of the most underrated midfielders on the planet, just controlling the entire pace of the game, being one of the backbones of Barcelona's offense, and obviously Marcus Rashford playing amazing. But let's talk about the other members of our defense. Jules Koundé, number one, didn't put a foot wrong, could not do a single incorrect thing in this game, made save after save that ensured that Barcelona would keep this score at 0 for Newcastle. Not to mention he was incredible on offense. I think honestly, if Marcus Rashford was not getting man of the match, there is a great shout for it to be Koundé. Now, granted, you could say it could also be Joan Garcia or Frankie, but it's just a good thing that so many Barcelona players are arguably deserving of it. Araujo has drawn a lot of criticism over the last year for his involvement in this new Hansi Flick style of defense and not being completely integrated within it. And now I think us running the high line a little bit less benefits Araujo a lot. He is able to play the high line when he needs to, but he doesn't have to do it all the time. And he made some impeccable saves for Barcelona tonight. A lot of situations that could have gotten really bad for Barca, but thankfully didn't because Araujo was there. Then, of course, we have Fermin Lopez. I think he would have loved to have signed his name on that third midfield spot for Barcelona tonight. However, I don't think it happened. He had such an incredible game against Valencia, but it just was not clicking the exact same way against Newcastle tonight. He had a pretty good game, but he was not able to be involved in the offense as much as he was against Newcastle, and so he wasn't able to have as much of an impact. This was arguably the same thing for Lewandowski and for Rafinha. So much of this game was won in the midfield or by the possession of Marcus Rashford that Rafinha and Lewandowski just did not have as many opportunities. They missed a couple of shots each that probably should have been goals, but I would argue that neither of them missed like a sitter that for sure should have gone in, you know? Speaking of the midfield and speaking of the attack, though, Hansi Flick has some decisions to make. Starting with the attack, you've got 3 spots and 5 players competing for them. Those 3 spots are going to be covered by Lamine Yamal, Robert Lewandowski, Marcus Rashford, Rafinha, and Ferran Torres. All 5 of them fighting for 3 spots. Lamine Yamal pretty much locked in. Rafinha and Marcus Rashford play the exact same spot, so if you want to put one of them on the pitch, you're probably going to have to push Lewandowski off, but he's also like the 3rd greatest UCL player of all time, so are you really going to bench him? You've got a lot of amazing options for not enough places, which is honestly a problem you love to have. And that problem exists in the midfield as well, where instead of 5 players competing for 3 spots, you've got 5 players competing for 1. Frankie and Pedri are locked in. Best midfield duo in the world, you can argue with a wall. I don't want to hear it. So they're locked in. They're not getting benched, which means every other Barcelona midfielder is competing for 1 position. And the 5 that I mentioned are just the 5 that have been getting playing time. There's other Barcelona players, especially La Masia kids, who are practicing with Barcelona, who are also going to be fighting to make their debut. Olmo, Fermin, Gavi, Marc Casado, Marc Bernal. 5 players, 1 midfield spot, and they all bring different things. I think I'll make a video soon talking about their profiles and what they bring to Barcelona and why they're so important, and I honestly think that there's never going to be one player who seals that 3rd midfield spot for them, and it's only theirs for the rest of the season. Hansi's gonna keep rotating between these 5 players. That just is what it is, but people can definitely make a bid for them to be starting more than anyone else. And so I think Fermin didn't seal the deal on him being one of those bona fide starters in the midfield, so when we play in La Liga come Sunday, I would not be shocked if we didn't see Fermin starting. Not because he didn't play well, he did, but because Hansi has so many options and he needs to figure out what he wants to do with all of them. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. If you came over from the TikTok to the YouTube, I really, really appreciate it. Make sure to hit subscribe so we can grow over on this channel. Don't worry, videos are coming so much more often here. I have neglected this channel for a little bit, but I definitely regret it. Videos are going to be coming here very soon. Please subscribe, please like, and yeah, it's going to be a good journey from here.